Hello and welcome to Forever Box. It is a Monday, which means we are going to be doing our Springbok Barometer. Players who put their hands up and players who I think we could see playing for the Box in this year, or even players who maybe on the fringes who might actually be putting themselves into contention to be part of potential squads. And of the players I'm going to mention today, I've got top five really. Players who I really noticed this weekend. I think we're going to see a bit more of them. One of them has actually not even really, been on a Bok radar. He's the only uncapped player in this list. Although the other player has been capped a long time ago, but basically, these are players who I think are some of them obviously are on the list. Some of them have actually been played very recently for the Box. But I think players who really put their hands up this past weekend. I'm going to try and do this throughout the season, kind of do a bit of a Box barometer on the Monday, see how maybe some players' stocks have really risen, maybe how some stocks are, really falling, for example. Because that's another thing. It's not just looking about Box players who are sort of knocking the door down. Which current Box, for example, are struggling and why are they struggling? Is it a lead for concern, for example, for Rassie Erasmus? But let's get into the list, shall we? And we're going to start off with the obvious, and that is a man of the match performance. Cameron Hanekom, the heir to be for Siya Kolisi's throne. I think. You look at his game, you look at how good he was this weekend, and I think he is the Siya Kolisi replacement. Not as captain, but the number 6 jersey. I think he's the only one, really, when you look around there, who I think is going to add a lot of value to the number 6 jersey. I think Marco Verstaappen's really sometimes struggled. He's had some very good games, but I don't think he's got quite the all-round game. And you look at the game Cameron Hanekom had this weekend. I mean, this is how it reads. I mean, he has 6 carries, scoring a try, 14 tackles, 1 defender beaten, not a single tackle missed, 3 turnovers as well. He is so good on the ground. This is the thing. And the reason I say for Siya Kolisi is I think that his game suits the number 6 jersey more than it does necessarily the number 8 in the traditional form of how the number 8 functions at the Box. And this is why similarly, you might see players playing in different positions at franchise that you might not see them playing at the Box. What could be quite interesting, for example, is Siya Kolisi currently playing a lot of rugby at 8. And if you were to have a Siya Kolisi, Pienaar, Troy Cameron Hanekom, for example, you could have Hanekom in the 6, you could have Siya Kolisi in the 6, you could have Hanekom in the 8, for example, you got Kolisi at the 8. So you could have different sort of combos as well, which would be quite interesting. But I think that he obviously is going to be, I think he's a 50 plus cap sprint mark, incoming. The next one is an interesting name, Ismael Pienaar. You struggle to watch his game this weekend and not wonder why he's not in the Box. For me, he's come back and he's been one of the better players for the Bulls for a while now. And at 27 years old, he's got years ahead of him, many, many years ahead of him. He is, for me, technically very good scrum half. I think he's got a very good kicking game when it's on song. And I don't think he's the complete player yet, but I think there's so much there that you could be working with. And he made his debut 7 years ago, at the age of 20 and then went overseas and kind of never really been looked at since. And I think that Jane Anderson, for example, he's not been playing maybe his best rugby recently. So and we've got the aging of Kobus Reinach and the Faf de Klerk, for example. Yes, we've got Morning van den Berg, who was absolutely tremendous again this weekend. But I think Ambrose Pierce is someone who could actually add a lot of value to that Box side. The next one, a bit of maybe an outside shot, but we've been watching him more and more recently and been really, really impressed with Marcel Tennyson at the Stormers, who since Evan Roos sort of got injured was deployed in the number 8 jersey. He's often been a bench sort of impact player, and unfortunately for him, the Stormers have always had quite a stacked, loose trio. Ben Jason Dixon, Evan Roos, Dion Fourie, Achieva Diamani, and Willie Engelbrecht now as well. And there's lots of different players that wouldn't do it. Pocamelo at a stage the likes. So Marcel has always kind of had to be a bit of a fringe, bit of a bench player, really. But once again, in a losing cause, I thought he looked really, really impressive this weekend. 12 carries from him, making over 100 meters, beating 3 defenders in the works. He made 9 tackles without missing a couple, but and a turnover. So I think that there's a player there, and nice and tall, nice and big as well. 100 kgs. Can play across that loose trio, which I think is quite useful. And I'm also a bit surprised that he's not being talked about a little bit more as a potential option. The next one is someone who I think is the question will be, where does he play? And in the locks, number 7 jersey, is he the next Peter Steph Toy, for example? Ruan Fenter, barbaric is probably the only way you can really describe his performance on Saturday. He was absolutely tremendous. I mean, he's the real deal. He is the real deal, and he consistently continues to show the real deal. At 22 years old, I was saying if there were markets on a betting website for a player like running over somebody or bouncing them or sitting them down, you could basically bet your house on Ruan Fenter and quadruple your money because he just does it every single game. The physicality on it's impressive. 2 shots this weekend. I mean, the one like 25 odd meters to go, bang, runs over a player, one over again. He's so good, but also very tidy. So 13 carries, 6 tackles from him, for example, 7 defenders beaten. He didn't miss a tackle as well, so really impressive game for him. And I think he will be in the box this year, and I don't see how he doesn't make the 2027 World Cup, for example. I think him and Honeycomb, for me, are nailed down squad members of that World Cup squad in 2 years' time, if they were to get the opportunities that they need. And then somebody else is Quin Horn. And last year, Ismael Pienaar really took the 15 jersey with both hands and put himself in the mix. We know Villiers Leroux is moving on. I'm getting a bit worried about Damien Williams' injury record. He's really struggling to get himself back to full fitness. For all that we were looking at, how cool is 15? We've got Villiers Leroux, Ismael Pienaar, Damien Williams. This year, for example, if Villiers Leroux does retire or does move away and Damien Williams continues to be injured, we need another option at 15. And I think that Quin Horn fits such a good bill. He's got a massive boot on him. He is deceptively fast. He just always seems to find space. Beating 5 defenders this weekend, for example. Didn't miss a tackle. Very solid defensively. I think that boot of his is a huge weapon. And I think he reads the game really well. So I think fullback, I'm pretty happy with what we've got, for example, in our fullback options. Because we've got Rassie, we've got Damien Williams, Sashfam Zulu might even play there as well. And then you've got Quin Horn, and so I'm pretty happy with looking at our 15s and seeing what's cooking. But those are sort of the 5 players that just really caught my interest over the weekend. Not too much in the Sharks here, I think, to speak of really. Urenta Julius, for example, I'm really enjoying his rise. I think Henk and Baker and him are going to have a nice competition in the future to see who's going to be at number 13 long term. Ethan Hooker, I think, will be somebody who'll be putting more pressure on inside centre, I reckon. But John, let me know what you think down in the comments below. Which of those 5 players would you like to see involved, and which other players caught your eye over the course of the weekend? Let me know down in the comments below. Smash the like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Steve. I'll chat to you soon.